Trump threatens to deploy ICE agents to U.S. airports. The full story. The root cause, a partial government shutdown. The entire situation stems from Congress missing a February 14, 2026 deadline to fund the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. The sprawling department, which includes agencies dedicated to border security, anti-terrorism operations, immigration services, and emergency management, has been operating without a finalized funding agreement for over 5 weeks. The consequences have been severe at America's airports. Since much of DHS is considered essential, employees are required to work without pay. At least 376 TSA workers have quit since the partial shutdown began in February, and many more have been calling out sick after missing their first full paychecks. The result, hours-long security lines at some major airports, with officials warning it could get worse if the standoff between Republicans and Democrats continues. By early Sunday, delays were already mounting. At Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, TSA wait times stretched beyond 2.5 hours. Travelers at LaGuardia, Houston's George Bush Intercontinental, and John F. Kennedy International Airports faced waits of more than 40 minutes. What Trump did and said. On Saturday, March 21, 2026, President Trump escalated dramatically. He posted on Truth Social, "If the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports, where they will do security like no one has ever seen before." He then doubled down hours later. "If the Democrats do not allow for just and proper security at our airports and elsewhere throughout our country, ICE will do the job far better than ever done before. I look forward to moving ICE in on Monday and have already told them to get ready. No more waiting, no more games." Critically, Trump made clear this wasn't just about filling in for absent TSA workers. It was about expanding immigration enforcement. He said the ICE agents would not only assist TSA in handling normal airport security, but he would direct them to arrest anyone suspected of being in the country illegally. He specifically added a racial and ethnic dimension, saying ICE agents sent to airports would focus on arresting immigrants from Somalia who are in the United States illegally, calling them out by name and claiming they had totally destroyed Minnesota. By early Sunday, Trump confirmed he is indeed sending ICE agents to airports on Monday. Why is there a congressional standoff? The DHS funding fight is deeply tangled with the immigration debate. ICE has been virtually unaffected by the partial shutdown, having received $75 billion in additional funding from the president's major legislative package, the One Big Beautiful Bill. TSA, however, received no such protection and has borne the full brunt of the funding lapse. The underlying flashpoint, a deadly immigration operation in Minnesota that killed 2 U.S. citizens, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, in shootings by federal agents. In February, Democrats vowed to block DHS funding until Republicans agreed to new checks on ICE agents, such as requiring them to wear identification, banning them from wearing face coverings, and stopping racial profiling. Democrats have also been pushing for standalone funding for TSA, while Republicans have rejected a piecemeal approach to funding DHS. The White House and Democrats have been exchanging proposals for over a month with no resolution. Negotiations this weekend. Despite the tensions, there were signs of movement. Bipartisan negotiations were occurring over the weekend. Senate Majority Leader John Thune described having productive discussions on Homeland Security spending. Bipartisan appropriators held a brief meeting with White House border czar Tom Homan on Friday evening that sources from both parties called productive, with multiple Republicans saying the GOP had bolstered its latest offer to Democrats. However, a third planned meeting between Homan and senators Saturday evening was postponed, with senators hoping to hold the meeting Sunday instead. Reactions: Democrats, Republicans, and TSA workers. Democrats were outspoken in their opposition. Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut said, "I think America would be absolutely appalled to see ICE agents roaming through airports just as they've been breaking down doors at homes." Senator Cory Booker said people on both sides of the aisle think this is outrageous, though no Republican immediately spoke out against it. Senator Patty Murray of Washington, a key Democratic negotiator, accused Republicans of tying TSA funding to ICE funding, saying, "Today, Senate Republicans voted against paying TSA agents because they insist on tying TSA funding to their push to give even more money to ICE without basic reforms. That is not how this should work." TSA workers on the ground were skeptical. Atlanta TSA officer and union steward George Borick told CNN, "The president can have them come there, but I don't see how that helps us in getting through this time period," reiterating the need for proper training. The administration has not clarified what shape ICE agents' roles would take at airports, since they are not trained to perform security screenings, and TSA screeners are required to undergo months of training. Elon Musk entered the conversation with an unusual offer. He said he would like to cover the pay of Transportation Security Administration workers during the shutdown. The White House framed the issue squarely as Democrats' fault. TSA officers are doing their jobs, Democrats should do theirs. The big picture. This situation represents a collision of several major forces: a prolonged government shutdown, a contentious immigration crackdown, and a political standoff with real consequences for everyday travelers. The partial government shutdown is among 3 lapses in funding, resulting in missed pay for TSA staff over the past 6 months, following a historic 43-day shutdown late last year and a brief lapse in January. As of Sunday, March 22nd, ICE agents are set to arrive at American airports on Monday, a deployment that blurs the line between immigration enforcement and transportation security in an unprecedented way, with negotiations still ongoing and the outcome deeply uncertain.